All right, guys, you've been playing MLB 22 for a little while now, and you're starting to run into some opponents that are absolutely dotting the corners with fastballs and breaking balls, and you're just not able to catch up or follow the ball well. Wow, I'm playing awful. If you watched my prior hitting video, I taught you guys the crossover method. It's something that I think really helps out, especially beginner players. Track those pitches that are going way outside of the zone, forces you to focus in the middle. However, when you start getting to play better opponents, you're gonna find guys that can hit the corners almost every single pitch, and you're gonna have to learn how to track the ball a little bit better. So I've been messing around with a lot of things, including what my PCI looks like, where it starts, where it finishes, how I'm tracking the ball, and I think I finally figured out the next step to my hitting method that's really gonna improve your game. If you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a like. It does help with the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe to the channel for the most up-to-date MLB news, tips, and info. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so I'm going to touch on my settings real quick. Again, if you haven't watched my hitting tips video, you need to watch that first, because that is going to give you the basics of the game, and it's really going to help you identify the pitches that are inside or outside of the strike zone. This video, I'm going to show you guys how to hit pitches that are inside the strike zone, but that are much more difficult because they're just being painted on the corners. All right, so again, just to recap in terms of the hitting view you want to use, strike zone or strike zone 1. This is going to be a preference for you guys. I like strike zone 2, but I have started to use strike zone because I think there's certain pitches that I've been struggling with specifically. This is all personal preference. I would use only one of those two because that is going to give you the best advantage to see the ball. In terms of the PCI I'm using right now, I'm using the PCI center of altitude. A lot of people use circles. That's fine. Altitude, I think it just, with the flat bars, I think it helps a little bit. I use PCI inner I use basic, and then outer I use none, magenta, whatever, and then I fade out the inner and outer. And as you'll see here, what'll happen is, yeah, again, I just get rid of the inner and outer while the pitch is coming in. Again, I think this just removes the clutter while you're at bat, and for players that are just starting out, I think just having less clutter is just definitely an advantage for you. All right, so let's talk about the pitching method that I'm now using that has been really effective for me now in ranked seasons as well as events. All right, so what we're gonna do is use the PCI anchor. I didn't talk a lot about it in the hitting video because again, I think you need to learn the basics and identify where pitches are going. So what you want to do is click in L3 if you didn't know how to do that. You click in L3, and that will allow you to set the PCI anchor, and then you hold it, and you can go to any of the 9 spots that are on there, right? So if you want to set your PCI up and in, for example, you can go ahead and do that by clicking in L3 and moving into up and in. All right, so here's what I want to show you guys. I'm going to show you again in this practice mode against a lefty, all right, and you're a righty, so this is coming in. I've really struggled with the down and in stuff, and I feel like a lot of people are having a hard time with that currently in the game, especially when you get guys that are just painting the corners with those pitches. It's very awkward to try and get down there and time it up correctly. So what you want to do is start out with your PCI up where the pitcher's hand is, where the ball is coming out. So this is going to change obviously depending on your batter as well as your pitcher. Now in prior years, this has been a method that a lot of people have used. However, it's been a little bit more awkward because when you put your PCI up in the zone to start, if you're trying to track it with the ball out of their hand, you had to put the PCI up and then you have to bring it down with your thumb. Now with the PCI anchor, you don't have to hold it up while you start your at bat. So what you can do is you just put your PCI up where the pitcher is releasing the ball, and then you can track it coming in towards you. Okay, so now I'm going to show you in game what that looks like and why it's been effective for me. All right, so we're going to step in with this example right here. I'm facing Chris Sale with Jose Ramirez, so he's got a lefty on the mound, switch hitter and Jose Ramirez, and this is an exact example of what I've been struggling with recently in MLB 22, and it has been the breaking pitches that go inside or down at the bottom that are painting the corner. I've just not been able to time them up well, and I found that even just using the crossover method, it's very difficult to get your PCI there in time. So what this PCI placement does is when it comes out of his hand and you notice that it is not a fastball, and again, this is going to take some repetitions to get that feel, what you can do is track it from that release point all the way down and in. And because it is a breaking ball, this is what this is going to help you hit. It is going to time it up almost perfectly so you can scoop this hit, and that's exactly what happens here. So the pitch is released. I know that it is a breaking pitch. And again, by the time that you bring it from the hand release point all the way down and in, you are going to get your swing timing to be that much better. I found that what I was doing by just reacting and leaving the PCI in the middle and starting from there, what I've realized is that I was either way too fast or way too slow because I was trying to make it perfect in the reaction. It also helps with people that slam their PCIs. So that's like if the pitch is right on and you're tracking it well, but then at the very last second you slam it down. Tracking it this way is going to improve that as well. Now, like I said, this really helps with slamming your PCI as well, because you're not really jamming your PCI and going for a reaction at the last second. Tracking the ball out of the pitcher's hand is going to allow you to stay inside the zone a little bit and stay on top of the ball. And again, in this situation right here, he doesn't get any break with his breaking ball, and it's an absolute missile from Frank Thomas. When you combine this with the crossover method, you're really going to see an improvement in your game, because the timing is going to improve as you track the ball. This also helps quite a bit when they're pitching away from you. Again, in this situation right here, I'm facing a righty with a lefty, and I'm able to just get on top of this pitch. Now, normally, I'd have a hard time reacting. I maybe slam my PCI left and right. It's just been a lot more difficult in MLB 22 for whatever reason, but this method has definitely improved my game now. Now, this might not work for everyone, but if you find yourself unable to time up those breaking pitches, specifically that ones that are painting the corners, this should really help out. And again, I think that starting with your PCI where the ball is going to go has been a bit of an issue as well, because you're not getting the feel, and that doesn't help with the timing. You're basically trying to hit the button or hit the hit button exactly as the ball crosses, whereas with the tracking method, by starting up where the pitch is being released, you're going to kind of get a more fluid feel to it. So again, there is a lot of personal preference in MLB the Show Diamond Dynasty, potentially more than any other video game. And I think that it's going to take some trial and error for you guys, but this has definitely helped. And for anyone that was in my chat that was actually watching me do this live, I've heard nothing but good things. The other thing I want to mention, guys, is that when you get into a ranked seasons game and you've gone quite a few innings and you just cannot hit someone, you're not being able to read what pitches they're throwing, whether it's a breaking ball, fastball, inside of the zone, outside of the zone, you need to take advantage of all of the information that is available to you. So if you go to the start menu and then go to stats and then pitcher analysis, you can go through and see exactly what your opponent has been doing throughout the game. And then what you want to do, because you have not been hitting consistently, is stop trying to hit every ball out of the park and stop reading every single pitch, and just sit on one pitch. If you use the information available to you, you know, and you can get a sense of what pitches he will, no matter what throw, at some point in an inning. And when that happens, you can turn on them just like I do here. Oh!
This one, way back there. Going. That one is gone.
Let's go! Lastly, guys, if you've gone a few games and you're struggling at the plate, go and take a look at your lineup. If you're batting like under 300, or if you're normally 250 on average for your whole team, and you've got a few players that are batting like 180, 170, try switching them out. Just because a player is high overall, I think people get locked into that number that's on the card. It doesn't mean that you particularly play well with that swing. There's players out there that love Cody Bellinger's swing, and there's other ones that can't use him at all. I know I love Mitch Haniger's face of the franchise card, but I've seen some people say they can't really hit with him. So just be aware of that and take a look at the information that is available to you. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.